You've probably been fed a lot of lies by dealerships and quick lube shops, and that's why most engines never make it to 200,000 miles. Today, I'm revealing 15 brutally honest oil change secrets that can help your engine blow past the 500,000 mile mark. We're cutting through the misinformation and sharing tips that will infuriate service technicians. Make sure you watch until the end because the very last secret takes only 30 seconds but can save you $8,000 in engine rebuilds. Let's dive in. Secret number 15, the 3,000 mile rule still saves engines. Are you following modern manufacturer recommendations for 10,000 to 15,000 mile oil change intervals? If so, you're slowly, silently, and avoidably killing your engine. I've opened up engines that religiously followed these extended schedules, even using premium full synthetic oil. What did I find? Thick black sludge baked onto every surface like burnt lasagna, pistons cooked beyond recognition, camshafts scarred with metal-on-metal contact, and oil passages clogged with concrete-like deposits. Here's the truth they don't want you to know. These extended intervals are designed by manufacturers to meet EPA environmental regulations, not to make your engine last to 500,000 miles. Most vehicles operate under severe service conditions. Think about it. City driving with frequent cold starts? That's severe. Stop-and-go traffic preventing optimal operating temperatures? Severe. Short trips under 10 miles? Also severe. After 3 decades of engine teardowns, my shop rule is simple. Change your full synthetic oil every 5,000 to 7,000 miles maximum, or conventional oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. It might cost an extra $60 to $80 per year, but that investment pales in comparison to the $8,000 to $12,000 for a complete engine rebuild when those extended intervals inevitably catch up. Secret number 14. Illegal oil disposal can bankrupt you. However, even perfect oil change timing won't save you if you're disposing of used oil illegally. You might think dumping used oil down the storm drain is just an environmental issue. It's not. It's a federal crime that can bankrupt you. I've seen property owners hit with EPA cleanup costs exceeding $50,000 when improperly disposed oil contaminated groundwater. Just 1 quart of used motor oil can contaminate up to 250,000 gallons of water. The government prosecutes these violations with fines ranging from $2,500 to $25,000 per incident. When used oil reaches groundwater, entire neighborhoods can lose their water supply, triggering expensive cleanup operations that property owners are legally responsible for funding. Always drain used oil into clean containers. Never mix it with other fluids like antifreeze or brake fluid. Transport it in leak-proof containers to authorized collection points. Every auto parts store and service station accepts used oil at no charge. Secret number 13. 6 tools to eliminate mechanic dependency. Proper disposal means nothing if you're buying the wrong tools for the job. You think you need expensive equipment to change oil properly? That's what quick lube shops want you to believe while they charge you $75 for a $25 job and push unnecessary upsells. I've helped customers assemble complete oil change toolkits for under $150 that pay for themselves after just 2 oil changes. Professional services mark up oil and filters by 200 to 400%, with synthetic oil changes costing around $75 at shops versus $35 for DIY. Over a vehicle's lifetime, professional services can add up to $3,000 to $5,000 in avoidable costs. Here are the 6 essential tools that will make you independent. A 17mm wrench for most drain plug removals, oil filter wrenches including plier-style variants and strap wrenches for stubborn filters, a reliable oil drain pan with a wide mouth and at least a 6-quart capacity, disposable nitrile WUVs, funnels for spill-free refilling, quality jack stands or ramps for safe vehicle elevation. Consider a Fumoto valve to replace your traditional drain plug with a lever-operated mechanism, allowing oil to drain without removing the plug entirely. Secret number 12. The right oil prevents $4,000 repairs. Having the right tools means nothing if you're not checking a critical specification first. You grab the same 5W30 oil you've always used because it worked in your last car. That assumption just cost you $4,000 in variable valve timing repairs. I've diagnosed dozens of engines damaged because owners used incorrect oil viscosity. Modern engines aren't like the simple motors of 30 years ago. Today's engines feature turbochargers that require oils that resist thermal breakdown at temperatures exceeding 300 degrees Fahrenheit, direct injection systems that contaminate oil with fuel dilution, variable valve timing needing specific oil flow characteristics, tighter bearing clearances demanding precise viscosity ranges. Using 10W30 conventional oil in an engine designed for 0W16 full synthetic is like trying to push honey through a coffee stirrer. Always check your oil filler cap first. Your owner's manual provides complete details, including API ratings and ILSAC standards that ensure proper additive packages for modern engines. Want your engine to reach 500,000 miles? Use exactly what the manufacturer specifies, not what the part store clerk recommends or what worked in your previous vehicle. Secret number 11, say no to expensive flushes that damage your engine. Even the correct oil won't help you if you're falling for these expensive service scams. You walk into the dealership for a routine $75 oil change and leave with a $1,480 estimate, including transmission flush, fuel system cleaning, and brake fluid service. I've sat in training meetings where service writers were coached to hit monthly quotas by selling unnecessary services regardless of actual need. Service advisors are trained to create urgency around services your vehicle doesn't need using fear tactics like claiming your brake fluid is contaminated when it's perfectly fine. One dealership tried to sell a throttle body cleaning on a brand new Corolla with 500 miles. The most profitable unnecessary services include fuel system flushes costing $150 to $300 for chemicals worth $15, pushed on vehicles showing no performance issues. You do not need a $400 fuel system flush at 30,000 miles unless you're experiencing rough idling, poor acceleration, or failed emissions tests. Secret number 10. Winter storage without an oil change destroys engines. Even honest service providers can't help you if you're making this winter storage mistake. You think storing your car for winter with old oil is fine because you'll change it in spring anyway. That used oil is eating your engine from the inside out. I've torn down engines that sat for just one winter with contaminated oil and found bearing surfaces corroded beyond repair. Used oil accumulates contaminants including dirt particles, metal shavings, moisture from combustion byproducts, and acidic compounds. During storage, these acids become concentrated as moisture condenses in the crankcase, creating a corrosive environment that attacks bearing surfaces and cylinder walls. Combustion byproducts include sulfur compounds that form sulfuric acid, nitrous compounds creating nitric acid, and organic acids from fuel contamination. These acids don't neutralize during storage, they concentrate and become more aggressive. Want your stored vehicle to start reliably after winter? Change the oil before storage, not after. The cost of fresh oil is minimal compared to engine damage from acid corrosion during storage.
Secret number 9. Short trips age oil faster than highway miles. Even understanding storage won't save you if you're ignoring how driving patterns destroy oil. You think your oil is fine because you only drive 3,000 miles per year, mostly on short trips around town. Those short trips are aging your oil faster than 15,000 highway miles. Here's what's really happening during short trips under 10 miles. Your engine never reaches its optimal operating temperature, 195 to 220 degrees F. This prevents complete fuel combustion and allows unburned fuel to wash down cylinder walls into the crankcase. This fuel dilution strips protective oil films from cylinder walls and thins the engine's oil. After just 30 seconds of idling, unburned fuel starts washing down your cylinder walls, turning your expensive synthetic oil into worthless sludge. Cold engines also produce excessive moisture from combustion that doesn't evaporate during short trips. In my shop, I've seen city cars need an oil change every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, no matter the oil type. Meanwhile, highway drivers with quality synthetic can sometimes stretch it to 7,500 or even 10,000 miles. Change oil based on driving conditions, not just mileage. Monitor oil color and consistency more frequently with city driving. Secret number 8. Warm engine drains prevent contamination. Even understanding driving patterns won't save you if you're making this temperature mistake. You immediately change your oil stone cold because it's convenient and you won't get burned. You're leaving behind 15 to 20% of contaminated oil that immediately starts poisoning your fresh oil. Cold oil has the consistency of molasses and won't drain completely from oil passages, the oil pan, or the filter housing. Oil viscosity increases dramatically at low temperatures. 5W30 oil that flows like water at 200 degrees F becomes thick syrup at 40 degrees F, clinging to internal surfaces and refusing to drain completely. This trapped oil contains all the contaminants, acids, and wear particles you're trying to remove. I've measured the difference in my shop. A cold oil change typically recovers only 4 to 4.5 quarts from a 5-quart system, leaving behind nearly a quarter of contaminated oil mixed with metal particles, fuel dilution, and acidic compounds. A warm oil change recovers 4.8 to 5 quarts, ensuring nearly complete drainage. Want your oil changes to be maximally effective? Run the engine for 5 to 10 minutes to reach normal operating temperature before draining, but don't let it get scalding hot. Secret number 7. Cheap oil filters destroy engines. Even perfect drainage won't help you if you're using the wrong filter. You save $5 buying the cheapest filter at the parts store. That economy oil filter just cost you $3,000 in engine damage when its bypass valve failed and let unfiltered oil circulate through your engine. It destroyed bearings and scored cylinder walls with abrasive particles. Budget filters often use inferior materials with less surface area, which reduces their ability to trap contaminants. More critically, their bypass valve ratings vary dramatically. OEM oil filters usually have bypass valves rated around 23 psi, while many cheap aftermarket filters use lower ratings. Premium filters like MAN, Wix, Pure Lane Pure One, Mobile One, and K&N feature high-quality pleated media with greater surface area, robust anti-drain back valves that prevent oil from draining during shutdown, ensuring immediate oil pressure and lubrication at startup. Cheap oil filters often have ineffective or missing anti-drain back valves, which cause dry engine starts that damage bearings and cylinder walls. Properly calibrated bypass valves. Invest in quality oil filtration from trusted brands. The cost difference between a $4 cheap filter and a $12 quality filter is insignificant compared to engine damage from poor filtration. Secret number 6. The hand-tight plus one-turn rule prevents $2,000 repairs. However, even the best oil filter becomes worthless if you're making this installation mistake. You crank that drain plug tight with a long wrench because you don't want leaks. You just stripped the aluminum oil pan threads, and now you're looking at a $2,000 repair. Over-tightening is the leading cause of drain plug damage. Most modern vehicles use aluminum or magnesium oil pans, which are softer than the steel drain plug and prone to tread damage from excessive torque. I've seen drain plugs fall out on the highway because previous over-tightening damaged the threads so severely that the plug couldn't maintain proper torque. One customer lost his drain plug on the road, which resulted in complete engine seizure and a $15,000 rebuild. Thread the drain plug in by hand until the sealing washer contacts the pan surface. Then turn an additional quarter to half turn with a wrench. That's it. The sealing washer does the work, not thread torque. Most drain plugs require 25 to 30 foot-pounds of torque. Secret number 5. Oil overfill kills engines through starvation. Even perfect installation won't help you if you're making this deadly overfill mistake. Even though your dipstick shows full, you think adding an extra half quart of oil gives you better protection. That overfill just created a foam party in your crankcase that's destroying your engine through oil starvation. Even though the dipstick shows full, the crankshaft counterweights start whipping through the excess oil, creating foam that reduces the oil's lubricating effectiveness and causes air bubbles in the oil pump pickup. This windage effect increases crankcase pressure and forces oil past seals while simultaneously starving the engine of proper lubrication. White or blue exhaust smoke appears as oil is forced past valve seals under pressure. Spark plugs become fouled with oil, causing misfires and rough running. Oil leaks develop at gaskets that were previously fine. I've diagnosed engines that suffered catastrophic failure within days due to improper oil changes. One customer's engine seized because the drain plug wasn't tightened correctly and fell out on the highway. Another case involved double oil filter gaskets, the old gasket stuck to the engine block, and the new filter was installed on top of it. This caused massive leaks and oil starvation, destroying the engine within 50 miles.
Secret number 4. Your oil life monitor lies. However, even perfect oil levels won't help if you're trusting this lying computer. Your dashboard shows 30% oil life remaining, so you think your oil is fine for another 3,000 miles. That computer is giving you false confidence while your oil has already broken down into engine-destroying sludge. Oil life monitors don't measure actual oil quality. They use algorithms analyzing engine revolutions, temperature, load, trip frequency, and idling time to estimate oil degradation based on driving conditions. But they cannot account for mechanical problems like coolant leaks, fuel system issues, or excessive blow-by that contaminate oil, regardless of mileage or time. I've sent oil samples to Blackstone Labs for analysis that showed severe fuel dilution and metal contamination, while the oil life monitor still displayed 50% remaining. A failing fuel injector had been dumping raw gasoline into the crankcase for months, turning expensive synthetic oil into a thin, contaminated mixture that provided no protection. Use the monitor as one data point among several. Perform visual inspections monthly, checking for changes in oil color, consistency, or level that indicate problems. Secret number 3. Deadly warning signs mean call a professional. Even knowing your oil's real condition won't help if you're ignoring these deadly warning signs. You hear a new kicking sound after your oil change and think it's normal break-it noise. That sound is your engine telling you something went catastrophically wrong, and ignoring it will cost you $8,000 in engine replacement. Persistent ticking or knocking sounds indicate insufficient oil pressure, wrong oil viscosity, or installation problems like double gasketed oil filters or loose drain plugs. Oil leaks that weren't present before the oil change suggest over-tightened components, damaged seals, or incorrect parts installation. I've diagnosed engines that suffered catastrophic failure within days due to improper oil changes. One customer's engine seized because the drain plug wasn't tightened correctly and fell out on the highway. Another case involved double oil filter gaskets. The old gasket stuck to the engine block and the new filter was installed on top of it. This caused massive leaks and oil starvation, destroying the engine within 50 miles. Dashboard warning lights after oil changes require immediate attention. Oil pressure lights indicate lubrication system problems that can destroy engines in minutes. Secret number 2. Lab analysis for extended intervals. However, even knowing when to call professionals won't help if you're missing this advanced optimization technique. You think you can safely extend oil changes to 10,000 miles because you use expensive synthetic oil, without laboratory analysis proving your oil's actual condition. You're gambling with a $15,000 engine based on marketing claims and wishful thinking. Laboratories like Blackstone Labs test for wear metals like iron for cylinder and bearing wear, aluminum for piston problems, and copper for bearing deterioration. Fuel dilution percentages that thin oil and reduce protection, coolant contamination that causes corrosion, additive package depletion. I've seen analysis reports that showed oil appearing perfectly clean to the eye, but containing dangerous levels of silicon from air filter leaks that would cause catastrophic engine wear. Conversely, some dark, dirty-looking oil tested perfectly safe for continued use. Analysis kits cost $25 to $35 and include sample bottles, prepaid shipping labels, and detailed reports delivered within days. Secret number 1. Cranking without starting saves your engine an $8,000. Now here's the most important secret that almost nobody talks about, but it saved more engines in my shop than anything else. You start your engine immediately after an oil change because you're eager to check for leaks. You just caused more wear in those first 30 seconds than the next 1,000 miles of driving combined. This simple 30-second technique prevents the dry start damage that destroys engines and costs $8,000 in rebuilds, yet 99% of people skip it completely. After an oil change, oil passages are empty, the oil pump housing contains air instead of oil, and bearing surfaces have minimal lubrication film remaining. When you immediately fire the engine, pistons slam against cylinder walls. Connecting rod bearings scrape against crankshaft journals, camshaft lobes grind against lifters. All this happens without adequate oil protection. The damage is microscopic but cumulative. Each dry start removes material from bearing surfaces, scores cylinder walls, and wears camshaft lobes through metal-on-metal contact. Over thousands of oil changes throughout a vehicle's life, this wear accumulates into complete engine failure, requiring rebuilds costing $8,000 to $12,000. Professional mechanics use a simple priming technique that eliminates this damage completely. Before starting the engine, disconnect the fuel pump fuse or relay to prevent the engine from firing. Then crank the engine for 10 to 15 seconds without combustion occurring. This builds oil pressure throughout the system, fills all passages with fresh oil, and ensures every bearing surface has protective lubrication before combustion begins. On older vehicles, disconnecting the ignition coil wire prevents ignition during cranking. On newer vehicles, pulling the fuel pump fuse or relay is the easiest method. Want your engine to reach 500,000 miles with minimal wear? Spend 30 seconds priming the oil system after every oil change. Disconnect the fuel system to prevent starting, crank for 10 to 15 seconds to build oil pressure, then reconnect and start normally. This simple step prevents more engine damage than any other single technique. The irony is perfect. The most important engine protection technique is also the simplest, yet almost nobody does it. Those 30 seconds of cranking can save you $8,000 in engine rebuilds and add 200,000 miles to your engine's life. It's the ultimate oil change secret that separates engines that die at 150,000 miles from those that run strong at 500,000 miles. Now you know the brutal truth about oil changes and how to make your engine last half a mile. But here's the catch. Even one tiny mistake during your next oil change can undo everything you just learned. In my next video, I break down the most common oil change mistakes that are quietly destroying engines, even for experienced drivers. Click the video on screen now before you make one of these mistakes and wipe out years of engine life in a single afternoon. And hey, if this kind of nonsense automotive advice is helping you catch problems before they blow up your wallet, hit that subscribe button.